Health Alert is brought to you by OU Physicians in Tulsa. Hello, welcome to Health Alert. I'm Pam Butler. Today we're going to talk about youth interventions, and joining me is Vincent Madden. You are a former Blood gang member, correct?
Correct.
Now, before we sort of get into what you're doing today and the interventions that you assist youth with, I want people to, because several months, probably about a year ago, we did a show where we looked at sort of your background and the gang affiliation and things like that, but people may not have seen that or need an update. So let's start there. You were a member of the Blood group, the Hoover.
No, the Hoovers is Crips.
Hoover, okay, I still can't get it right, Vincent.
Rip Boy, I was from the Rip Boys.
The Rip Boys, okay.
Right.
Tell us exactly how you began your gang involvement, at what age, what drew you to that kind of lifestyle, and we'll get into a little bit about that lifestyle.
It started when I was a teenager, and most of my homeboys, we grew up in the same neighborhood off of Frankfurt by Chamberlain Park area, 51st, 52nd, 53rd.
Okay.
So it's just most of us that grew up in the same neighborhood, and some outside of the neighborhood, but the majority of us was in the neighborhood.
Okay, now what drew you to a gang? Because sometimes we think, kids can hang out, but they don't have to be in a gang. So what made you go to the gang affiliation?
I think we all hung out anyway in a big clique, and when people in the gangs from California start coming here, or whatever, that's when it all started clicking up, and then we got tied in with the APBs, Athens Spark Bloods, and you already had the Hoovers here, and other different Crip sets here, or whatever the case may be, and we took in with them. But at that time, we wasn't really off into no color thing. We wore a lot of royal blue at the time, Kansas City Royals, and that was our clique, and we was just beefing with gangs sets from here. Okay,
now people often think that youth will get involved with gang activities. See if this applied to you, because of broken homes or parents not in the home, or severe economic problems coming from poor economic backgrounds, or just the need to belong. Is that anything that is true, and how did it apply to you?
All the above is true, but like I say, we all hung in the same area. I grew up in a single parent home, so and it is a sense of belonging too, for the most part, or whatever, because you feel, your friends, y'all feel like it's almost like a family, a close-knit family.
Okay, does it involve the need or the desire for a lot of money? Sometimes we say, well, it's about the money that will lure the kids to that. Is it really a money thing?
It's the money, it's all the materialistic things that come with that, you know what I'm saying? Because drugs bring money, money brings cars, money brings jewelry, money brings girls, money brings a lot of things, and money brings trouble too.
Okay, it brings trouble. Now, what kind of trouble did it sort of bring your way as you began to get involved in the gang life?
It can bring you trouble because if people know that you're selling drugs and or whatever, and see you having nice things, it can cause people to want to anybody on the outside that don't have what you have, you know what I'm saying, it can cause them to want to rob you and take what you got. And if you don't give it up, you can end up losing your life.
Okay,
or
now
a loved one.
Now with the gang lifestyle, then, are there, clarify this review is true, are there really these initiation ceremonies where you really have to go kill somebody or rob somebody or do other kinds of things like that? Does that really exist? I mean, we hear about it, we hear people talk about it, that was an initiation issue, but being on the inside at one point, is that really reality?
Yeah, I mean, it's reality, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, in the clique that I come in, we was already running together, but so it wasn't really, for those of us that was official,
yeah,
it didn't happen. It didn't happen for us. For those that wanted to come in, then yeah.
Okay, so those things really do exist.
You can't, I mean, it wasn't that serious to us where you had to go kill nobody, but in this day and time, yeah, it's like that.
But in some affiliations and some gang lifestyles, that can be there.
Yeah, there's some violence there.
Okay.
To get initiated.
Okay, now what made you sort of decide that this wasn't for me anymore? Because we often think that too, that once you're in a gang, you're in it for life.
Because as you get older, you start getting mature. My thing of it is I got tired. I get tired of looking over my shoulders. My thing of it is I got a family, and I don't want to put nobody at risk. say you that you one of my enemies and I have my grandmother or anybody in the car and you shoot at me and then you hit and kill my grandmother, but you trying to get me. So then I got to live with that on, you know what I'm saying? I got to live with that for the rest of my life. So I didn't want to live like that. But not only that, then that's going to make me want to get your family, you, and whoever else I got to get to you. Because I want you to feel, you inflict pain on me and my family, then I'm going to inflict pain on you and your family.
Well, you know, that's sort of, we used to think that there was like a code, and so you're sort of saying there isn't, that if you're in a gang lifestyle, it's just the gang members that are going to vie against each other and the families are okay. But that's not the case.
No, it's not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. It's like I said, because if you accidentally shoot a family member of mine, and I know that you're not trying to shoot them,
right,
but you're trying to get me, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go into hiding. So if you're going to go into hiding, I need to get you to come on out. So you know what I'm saying? So our thing is eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You take one of my family members, I'm going to take one of yours until I get to you.
I see. So it's to flush the person out, even though you know they didn't intend to kill that other person, but it's still a whole part of the cycle.
Yeah, but if I can get to you first, that's cool.
Okay.
If I can get to you first, but if I can't get to you, then I want you to feel my pain too.
Okay. Now, so you can get out, because sometimes kids that may be in gangs may feel that once they're in, they cannot get out. But you can get out. And are there repercussions to getting out?
You can get out anything you want to get out, and my belief is because I believe in God. And I just believe that if God carried me that far, then he'll bring, you know what I'm saying, then he'll allow me to come out. You don't allow me to make it this far, you know what I mean, just for nothing. So I walked, you know what I'm saying, in faith and believed, you know what I'm saying, that, hey, you gonna carry me through this. Yeah, did I hear some havoc behind it? Yeah, but did anybody touch me? No, you know what I mean? You can say what you want to say to me, just don't put your hands on me.
Okay, so do you have to still live a kind of lifestyle where you are watching out and being careful, because you know people might want to still retaliate because you're getting out?
I never gave it no thought like that. Because I never walked around really like that in fear or whatever, because I mean my faith is in God. So I don't look at worry about what man could do to me or what he might do to me. I look at it now as my thing, but since my lifestyle has changed, that if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. That's just the way I look. So I don't look back and wonder if anybody gonna see or whatever, because I still go back to the hood and see some of the homies and we talk or whatever, and they see that my lifestyle is changing and they respect that.
Okay, so for kids that are trying to get out of a gang, or you're trying to mentor with, what do you tell them? Because like I said, there can be repercussions. Like I said, you didn't experience them, and you had a different point of view, but for a child that may not have such a strong faith, what do you tell them about being able to get out and how to get out?
My thing of it is that I ask a kid then, do you believe in God?
What if they say no?
You know what I mean? Then you need to be, and then we'll just talk. You know what I mean? And I share my life experiences with them and ask them then, is this how you want to live? Is this what you want to put your parents through? Then you have to make you know what I'm saying? If you just like you made a decision to live this life and you live in fear living this life, so what's the difference if you come out? You know what I mean? Because as long as you live this life, your family is in harm. But then when you walk away, you're not going to be in that much harm.
Okay, well, we're going to
unless you stay running around people.
Okay, we're going to take a really quick break and come back and pick up on that, okay?
Okay.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
Welcome back. To continue our discussion looking at youth interventions, joining me again is Vincent Madden. And Vincent, again, you're a former member of the Blood gang.
Yes.
The Rip
Boys.
Rip Boys, okay. Now I want to pick up again on moving into youth and what do you do? Because you do mentor youth, you do interventions. We were talking about what if you have a child who doesn't have as much faith as you have, and you were talking about telling them you were living the lifestyle within it. If you get out of it, what's the difference? Does getting out of this gang increase protection for your family? Because you mentioned how people may be after a certain person, and once you get out, maybe there's some things that you were doing or you did where people want to retaliate. Does that kind of diminish once you start to get out? I mean, how do you talk to them?
If you don't really want, if you want to get out of that lifestyle, then you can. Then the thing of it is you just don't go, you just stay away from that. You know where it's at. You know where all the trouble is at. So don't go there. You know, find something else to do with your life. Find something positive to do. Go to the gym. Go hang around kids that's trying to do positive things. Surround yourself with positive people. And as long as you got yourself surrounded with positive people, you don't have to worry about that, because 9 times out of 10, if you stay away from that long enough, the person that's mad at you, that's going to blow over. And when you do see them, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do nothing. They probably just going to say something all off the wall to get you all riled up so it can jump off. But if you just don't go around that, you know where it's at, then you won't have that problem.
So even if they're saying things to try to get you to re-engage, you know, rile you up, to get you to respond, then how do you talk to kids, or do you help them understand just don't respond? If you're there, it doesn't mean that you're less than a person, because sometimes we think about, well, they're trying to attack my personhood, whether it's the manhood or the womanhood or whatever it is, because we have females in gangs too. Is it just teaching them to just let it roll off, because that is the only purpose it's having?
In fact, yeah. At the same thing, but at the same time, when you work on them, you have to help them change their thinking process too.
Okay.
If you don't change your thinking process, then you're going to always allow words to offend you, and you're going to go through the rest of your life like that. So the thing of it is that you have to work with them now. And my point is I share all my mistakes and errors with them. So then, hey, if I share all this with you, then you ain't got no reason to run into that brick wall, because I done already ran into that brick wall for you. And you ain't gonna do nothing but get knots on your heads. And I done took all them knots for you. You don't have to take all them knots, because I done been down that road already for you. So you don't have to go down that road.
But what do you do with parents or people that are in the home? Because sometimes parents may be working a lot, they're not really there. Maybe the kids too much have time where they have to take care of themselves. What do you tell parents to end up doing, even a single parent household? Like you said, you grew up in a single parent household, which doesn't mean you have to end up in gang activity. But what do you tell parents to do? What's their role? How vigilant should they be? What should they be looking for? What do they need to see?
I mean, the first thing is it gives it off is the colors. If your child's wearing certain colors too much of, and you know that you haven't bought them colors, and there's a problem. If you haven't bought those clothes or whatever, and no matter how much you work, and no matter how tired you may be, you still need to sit down with your child, talk with your child, find out how their day went, find out what's going on with them. Sure, you know what I'm saying? Let your kids know that you're there for them. Show their love to them. Take time out to do different things with them. If you take out the time to do certain things with them, different things with them, then they won't have time to get involved in all that. But if you don't do that as a parent, man or woman, then yeah, the streets is going to suck them up like a vacuum cleaner.
Okay, now when you talk about colors too and what they're wearing, should parents go into rooms and look in closets and look in drawers? Because sometimes we think that's a violation of privacy, or the kid will say, you're violating my privacy, that's my room, that's my stuff, and they get all angry and upset and there's a big blowout. How do we handle that?
When you coming up, if you living in your mother's room, under your mother's roof or father's roof, you don't have no privacy. You don't have no privacy until you start paying bills. When you get your own place, then you got privacy. You know what I mean? If you have a problem with that, then don't bring it to the house. You don't have to worry about that. If you were my child and you got a problem with it, I'll take your door down, and you really won't have no privacy. So I'll see everything that go on in there then. Okay. You know, but you just look for certain colors. You go if all parents, that's your house. You pay them bills. You go in that room and do whatever you need to do to save your child. If you got to go in when they get school, go in there and look and go through there.
Okay. Now
you got to police it.
Now, and that's a good point that you make, and you even, as you're talking to the kids about this, let them understand what their parents need to be doing.
Right.
So they get that mindset changed of this, they're violating my privacy and doing this kind of stuff. Now, you talked about gang colors. I mean colors, I'm sorry. They could mean a gang affiliation. We kind of got that sense. But tell us a little bit about, so that parents and others can know, it can be sports things. Tell us about the sports things, because if my child is wearing a Kansas City and they're really into Kansas City and they've got all that paraphernalia, then I might think that is really good. They are really into sports.
The Kansas City colors is red colors. That's for Bloods. You can go Dallas Cowboys. That's a Crip color. But in this, when you talk about colors nowadays, all colors is game colors almost.
Okay.
You know, all colors is game colors almost.
So even if they're wearing the sporting things, we should be aware of that. How can we tell the difference that they just don't just love the Dallas Cowboys versus this is showing some affiliation I need to be concerned about?
I mean, you can tell by the way they're wearing their clothes. And I mean, and like I say, they can be wearing a Dallas jersey, that's fine. But if you got a bunch of other blue clothing as well, and you don't see no red, green, purple, and all that, and you see more blue, it's a problem. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care how you try to shape it or whatever, it's a problem. Something's going on, and you need to let your kid down and start investigating. You need to start looking at what kind of friends the friends they got. You start checking out the company that they keep.
Okay, can it even boil down to, you said how they wear it is, because everybody is still sagging and bagging and all that kind of stuff. Is there any other distinction in how somebody wears something?
I mean, a lot of kids are sagging now,
right?
You know, whatever. But I see a lot of kids sag, but most of the time, if you gang related,
yeah.
When you gang related, it's the colors is there. If you a blood, you got the red, some kind of red shirt on, some kind of red shoes on, and all that. A lot of kids you see now sagging might have on a little white polo with a sag and some whatever color shoes. A lot of them kids is not banging, man. You can just look at it. It's in the walk and everything.
Okay, so if we're noticing a different walk, or I guess people call that part of your swagger thing.
Yeah, it's in your swag.
It's in your swag.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you notice a difference in how the kid is walking, or even a difference in the clothes may not be alarming to you initially, but how they're wearing them, just a change in what they have been doing, can indicate there's something that you need to be aware of.
And too much of any certain color.
Too much of any certain color. And you mentioned shoes. So the shoes, we need to watch shoes.
Yeah, it's gonna be in there. Yeah, I mean, it's in there. You like, for example, why would you be a Crip and you got on you a Crip and you got on a blue Dallas jersey, and then you got on some shoes over here like with some red in it? Why would you do that?
It's not gonna happen.
No, it's not gonna happen. If you Crippin', you got on some blue and white or some all whites or whatever, it's in your shoes too. It's just there.
Okay, okay. Well, we're gonna take a break because, you know, the show we did previously, you even talked about, I want to hit that before we go to schools and what we need to do, about how they tie shoes, in terms of how you can tie the shoes that can indicate
using Roman numbers.
Yeah, I want you to talk about that because that's something else that we would never think to look at, how our kids are tying their shoes. Okay?
Okay.
Stay put, and you stay put. We'll be right back.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
Welcome back. To complete our discussion looking at youth interventions, joining me again is Vincent Madden and your former Blood Gang member, the Rip Boys.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when we stopped, we were talking about shoes and how we might need to look at our children's tennis shoes and how they're tying the shoes. Tell us about this tying the shoe thing that we need to be aware of.
It's in the shoelaces like they use Roman numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like if you from 5'4", 54th, that's what they call it, 5'4". And this shoe it'll be like the 5, and then the other one will be like the 4. It's in the laces, how you lace it up. You know what I mean? It's all kind of different signs that they use, particularly because they're in the schools, and they got to wear uniforms. So if they can't wear their colors like that, then they'll do it through the laces in their shoes. Okay,
so be aware of shoelaces and how they're tying, because that can signify. What about, especially in the schools, like you said, where there may be more uniform codes, the bandanas and the different things like that? I mean, in the show that we did previously, you even mentioned, I want you to talk about that again, the bandana in the pocket and what that could mean. You know, because sometimes we think bandanas are innocent.
Well, they won't allow them to wear them in bandanas in school now, but that's one of the things. But you know, you got them little rubber bands they wear on their arm, the little wristbands.
Yes. Them
is colors too. Them symbolize as colors too. Or another thing, the little belts that they got. They got all the different little colors on them.
Okay.
you know, that you can go buy them at what, Tops and Bottoms somewhere.
Yeah.
It's in the belts, all that.
Okay. So even you never think about that. So even going to school, they may be in the uniform, but look at the shoes, the belt, the little bracelets, those things are allowed. What can the bandana symbolize? You talked about the different colors, whether it's white or if you have it on and or something can indicate a fight is going to break out or.
Well, now in this day and time, they don't really wear the flag. We call them flags.
Okay.
They don't
so
really, they don't really wear the flags no more. You know what I mean? So that's kind of played out. You know, you might see some people with them or whatever, but these youngsters, they don't really they don't fly the flags.
Okay, so that's kind of morphed. They can see people can understand what that means, so
Right.
it keeps changing.
Right.
Now, in the school environment, then, if we're seeing those kinds of things, especially whether you're the teacher, the principal, what do we need to do? I mean, because do we go up and ask the child, "What's up with you? What are you doing? Or what do we do?" Because that seems innocent.
I mean, I wouldn't go up to them like that. You just have to watch them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You just have to watch them for a while. You just have to watch them and the company that they keep, and then you go from there. You know, then if you see them keeping bad company, then you can figure you know what I'm saying, that they about to either get involved in something or they close to it. You know, some kids will say, "Oh, I just hang with them, just my friends or whatever," but a lot of them kids want to be a part of something, so that's what they'll do. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. It just look cool to them because they're on the outside looking in until you actually get right down in the middle of it. It ain't what you think it is when you get there.
Now, for girls then, do they do the same kinds of things? Because, of course, they're uniforms that affect girls. I mean, so are they doing the same things with the bracelets and the belts, or do girls who are gang affiliated or into trouble, do they do something a little bit different?
I mean, at Gilcrease, I went over to Gilcrease and worked with some kids or whatever, and some of the girls over there, they weren't doing the same. They had some of the little red rubber bands on, the little belts. That was a couple of years ago when I was over there. They doing the same thing, but it's not really that much of a problem with the girls. It's the boys, you know.
Well, why not?
You got a few of them. You got a few that want to be down or say they are, you know, and that's just particularly because they like a certain boy or their boyfriend is with something.
Well, why do you say it's not as much problem with a girl? Girls are less attracted to the gang lifestyle?
The reason I say
Other than if it's the guy that they like or something.
I'm just saying right now it's more of a problem. I mean, girls is involved, but you got more havoc going on right now with the guys. You know what I mean? And if you look at the news, it's more shooting. It's not as I'm not saying that it's not a problem, but it's not big as a problem as it is with the guys.
So guys tend to still be more violent in that type of thing.
Right.
So when you go into a school or you're working with a kid with interventions, how do you set that up? Do you talk to the parents and say you have to be involved? How do you set it up? Do you do schools with just general assemblies? Do you work with kids that have been identified with anger issues or problems like that? How do you do schools, and then how do you do home interventions?
What happens is I'm with the 100 Black Men, and we got a gang intervention team, and Marvin Blaze is the president. And what they'll do is they'll contact Marvin Blaze or Dwayne Barnett, and they'll set it up. They'll set the play up, and then what they'll do is they'll contact me and Raul Beanie, and another guy. We got a new member named Ken Barnes. They'll contact us, and then we'll just go from there. We'll meet at the school. We'll meet at youth services. We'll meet whatever they want to meet at, and then we just take it from there.
Okay, and the other people that you mentioned, Rabini, are all of these former gang members so that they have a direct experience that the kids can believe in, or are they people who basically have just studied about this and come in and talk?
Raul Beanie is a former Hoover, so he's been out there and done his thing. Ken Barnes is a former gang member of Hoover as well. That's one of Raul Beanie's friends, and he's been out there and done some things. Dwayne Barnett is a ex-federal agent, and as you know, Marvin Blaze is an ex-Tulsa policeman. So with the team, there's a little bit of everything, and nobody is a wannabe. Everybody has been out there and experienced something. So that's what makes the team so unique. What
do you find, you know, as we're looking in our last minutes here, what do you find is something that the kids seem to reach out to you about more? I mean, what does it seem to be a great need of theirs or something that they really want to know? Do you find some common themes no matter what group of kids you're working with that they are all seemingly presenting to you or asking about?
A lot of kids are, some of them, they don't have a whole lot.
Okay.
You know, from, you know, mother might be raising 5 or 6 kids or whatever. So a lot of kids be looking at my clothes and all that because I try to stay, I don't know the word for it, you know what I'm saying?
You try to have your swagger without using slang, right?
Right, right. But I try to color coordinate everything or whatever the case may be. But and I let them, and they look at all that kind of stuff, but I let them know that, hey, man, I had to work hard for all this. Everything that I got, I work hard for it, and you can do it too, man. Get you a job, get you a lawnmower, cut some yards, or whatever. You know, kids, they look to us and see how we doing and what we doing. They checking you out from head to toe. They checking out the cars you ride in, the wheels, all that stuff.
Okay, so they're still looking for a sense of wanting to have some things that they don't have to be like other people.
Right. But the thing of it is, though, it ain't even, that stuff ain't important. When you go, that stuff don't go with you. That's what I tell them. You can't take this stuff with you.
Okay.
It won't go.
So what would be some of the biggest pieces of advice that you would give for adults working with kids or seeing kids in trouble? What would be some advice that you would give us?
Keep loving on them. You know, even if they're not your kids, love on them. You know what I mean? Because that's the biggest thing right now. They need love. They need somebody. I mean, when they do wrong, yeah, you get on their tail or whatever, but you let them know that, hey, I still love you. I'm still here for you. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here until they throw the dirt in my face. You can't run me off. You can do whatever you want to do. And I tell the kids that I work with now, you can do whatever you want to do. But one thing you can't do, you can't make me stop loving you. This is my choice. You know what I mean? And I'm going to love you anyway, good or bad, because my grandmother loved me no matter what I did.
Okay, so they're looking for that consistency, stability, and somebody to count on.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
You got to mean what you say when you say it.
Got to mean what you say. Thank you so much, Vincent.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for having me again.
Well, that's our show. For Health Alert, I'm Pam Butler. I'd love to hear your questions, comments, or suggestions for future shows. Please write me at Health Alert USA, P.O. Box 50913, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74150. Or if you're on the email trail, please email me at healthalertusa@gmail.com. And also visit me on YouTube at youtube.com/Health Alert USA. Remember, take care, look at our youth, get involved, and be there for them no matter what, and really walk the walk. Just don't do the talk. Take care. Health Alert is brought to you by OU Physicians in Tulsa.